Hello friends and welcome, ZQuixotix here with a Why Did I Lose episode. It's been ages since we did one of these. So, I'm not going to tell you the mistake quite yet. I want you to take a look. It's a mistake that can happen at any given creep wave, but it's particularly bad if it happens in the first one or two creep waves. So take a look, see if you spot it for yourself. I'm going to play it here at normal speed. Now you may have noticed that the Radiant actually has 2 kills already. They did kill the Spectre and the Treant. Treant also probably should have TP'd to the lane instead of walking, but those are not the mistakes, so don't worry about that. Because even if the dire safe lane had been the ones to get the 2 kills, this mistake we're going to talk about could still happen. So don't worry about those kills already. Don't worry about not being in the lane right away. We're going to focus on this mistake. Now, the reason I do want to point this out is because in the first minute, there are no neutral camps. So all you do is play the laning stage. And if you push at this point, there's not really anything you can do to fix equilibrium because no neutral camps are alive. And there's a chance the enemy has blocked the neutral camps as well, which means you may not have a chance to pull until 2, 3, 4 minutes later. Who knows? So it's very important in the first 2 creep waves to avoid doing anything that would hurt you, such as pushing the wave heavily when you're a weak lane. So Spectre, Treant, going to be a very weak matchup to Viper and Axe. It is a little weird, Axe 4, but, you know, it's fine. So we have 3 creeps alive from the second creep wave still. The third dire creep wave's here, and the Radiant creep wave is here. So we have 7 dire creeps versus 4 Radiant creeps. And I will fast forward for you guys to see this, but the lane stays here for 3 or 4 more minutes. You know why? Because when you have this many creeps up here, there's just not a lot you can do to fix equilibrium when the 4 support just keeps stopping all your pulls, and the lane finally pushes up when Viper decides to use Nether Toxin to shove it in. So frankly, Viper could have continued to keep the lane here as long as he wanted, as long as Axe stops all the pulls, which he's very free to do this game. So already about 4 minutes in the game, we notice Spectre is 1k behind. This is a very extreme example, but it all starts off the same mistake. And maybe you won't be punished as hard as this particular case, but let's go ahead and break it down now to avoid any of that if possible. So here we start out equal. Everything in this lane is okay right now because we have 4 creeps versus 4 creeps, and they're dying at about the same rate. This dire melee creep is maybe a little lower, but it's really not a big deal. This is where we start. When Axe aggroes these 3 melee creeps away, Spectre has to do the exact same thing. She has to attack Axe or Viper and aggro the 3 Radiant creeps to her own range creep. So this is the mistake that Spectre is making, and you could do it too. Like if Treant was here, Treant can also do this. He can attack the Axe or Viper and draw these 3 creeps to his own range creep. So it doesn't have to be a mistake that the carry's making. The support can try to fix this as well. So as long as you're in a side lane, you should know about this. By not aggroing these creeps, what happens here, notice the Radiant melee creeps are still attacking, and that these 2 dire melee creeps have started to hit the Radiant range creep. These 2 melee creeps for the Radiant are attacking Spectre, because Spectre was going for a last hit, which put her in range here. They're still hitting Spectre. They're still hitting Spectre. They're still hitting Spectre. Okay. Finally, it hit the range creep instead. Let's take a look at the Radiant range creep. It is dead. It is about to die right here, and the dire range creep was just touched. So, if nothing else happens here already, this lane is pushing into this direction. It is in favor of the Radiant right now a little bit. Not too bad quite yet, but it is starting to get there. So Spectre has made the mistake, creating an opportunity. Now, you won't always be punished for making this mistake, which is why I think a lot of you may not have noticed the mistake at all, because maybe you've done it before and like, oh, nothing ever happened, so I didn't realize that was a mistake. It's because the enemy has to then take advantage of it. So now we're going to focus on Viper and Axe and really see how they take advantage of this. Starting with this double deny right here on the range creep. This is really good. This obviously denies the range creep, which is great to do, But because they both attack at the same time, it's very hard for the enemy, or for our Spectre in this case, to secure it. Even if Spectre uses a spell, 2 attacks from Viper and Axe does it more damage than this spell. So it's very hard to get this last hit. Now, if she had done the same aggro trick we talked about, this range creep should also be about to die right now, and so Spectre could get the deny here. And then, okay, I got 1 range creep denied, but I denied 1 as well, and you would be okay with that. But by not doing that, the Viper and Axe, they don't need to worry about their range creep anymore, so now they get to run up here and start to push Spectre away from this range creep, and now they're going to secure their own range creep. So they've denied a range creep and secured their own range creeps. They're in a good spot already. Now we have 2 melee creeps versus 2 melee creeps. Sounds even in numbers, but if we look at their health, the Radiant melee creep is below 50%, which means Viper and Axe can attack it. And that's what they do. They both hit it once. Spectre tries to get the last hit with a spell. Viper actually gets the deny. And now we're at 2-to-1 melee creep. Now they accidentally draw aggro a little bit. This would be honestly better for them if they hadn't done that, and if they hadn't killed that range creep so quickly either. But honestly, it's okay because of how often they're attacking their own creeps. So here, Viper, again, going for an attack, didn't get the deny, but this Radiant melee creep died even faster than usual. Treant is now hitting his own creeps. This is good. It's trying to fix the lane, because you'll notice the neutrals just spawned, but he still can't actually pull for 15 more seconds at least, and Axe could always stop that. And unfortunately, he also has kobolds, which won't really fix your lane pushing at all. So this is the most he can do to try to fix the issue he's got right now. Now, you know, Spectre has attacked the Radiant melee creeps a couple of times as well. This is not helping her issue right now. And Viper and Axe, they're also going to keep hitting their own creeps, getting a couple denies. Spectre hits the creeps again. Axe, Viper, hitting and securing last hits. She uses spell, trying to secure both last hits. Even if she got them, like, let's not worry about the fact she missed them. Even if she got them, it is doing more damage than usual, so we're pushing even further. And that's why we get to this point here, and we have 3 creeps surviving. So think about it. 8 creeps of the Radiant came in, 8 creeps of the Dire came in, should have been totally equal, and yet 3 Dire creeps survived, which means 5 Dire creeps essentially killed 8 Radiant creeps, and that doesn't make much sense. And it's because of Spectre, Axe, and Viper hitting those Radiant creeps as soon as they fell below 50% for Viper and Axe, and Spectre sometimes helping that process along, hitting full health creeps, certainly not helping her case, because Viper and Axe, and many heroes have about 50 damage, and that is more than twice the damage that melee creeps have. So melee creeps and range creeps, they're supposed to kill each other off. Every time a hero adds an attack in, they're just speeding up that process. So the Radiant creeps ended up dying way faster than the Dire creeps because of how these heroes reacted. So Spectre made several mistakes, one being that aggro mistake and then hitting the enemy creeps. But honestly, even if she didn't hit their creeps as much and just didn't do that aggro thing, Viper and Axe can still do what they did to abuse it. Now, technically, if we go back again, one more time, here, if you do the aggro trick and you're like, okay, what if I messed it up? As long as the other support, Treant, is here, when this creep falls below 50%, maybe you can go for a deny to help balance it out. So maybe this could have been recovered if Treant was here a little sooner. But it wouldn't have really been an issue if Spectre had aggroed or de-aggroed the creeps, kind of both ways. First, she didn't aggro the creeps the same time Axe did, and then the melee creeps hit her, and she didn't de-aggro them soon enough. It's kind of a combo mistake. And from there, they ended up pushing. This lane gets lost. And the lane gets lost so hard that Spectre never really recovers, and they end up losing this game. So, it's not a very obvious mistake. Like, we've been talking for like 10 minutes about a event that happened over 30 seconds. But I think it's because there was a lot to say there, you know, and I did want to explain. Hopefully it is now clear to all of you what happened and how you can avoid it yourself. You have to be aware of what the creeps are hitting, and you need to make sure they're killing each other as much as possible, because otherwise the enemies can take advantage of that by denying their own creeps and then winning the lane from there. So that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!